Hello and welcome to Model Kit Stuff. It's first impressions time, and today we're looking at a Wingsey Kits kit, which has come from Ukraine. You could say it winged its way up. Let's just get on with it, shall we? Hello, welcome to Model Kit Stuff. Yes, we're looking at this. It's a Wingsey Kit BF109 E3 Emil. I have never reviewed one of this company's kits before, so this will be really interesting to me. Wingsey Kits are a Ukrainian company. They're actually one of 31 companies involved in manufacturing for the modelling hobby. Not all of those 31 make kits. Some do decals and some do photo etch or resin or what have you, but 31 manufacturers in Ukraine. So that's really, really interesting. Much bigger industry than you perhaps might think. But Wingsey Kits, like I say, not reviewed them before, so really interested to have a look at this. It's a 1:48 scale, and it says ready to assemble scale model kit. That tells us it's a German World War II fighter Messerschmitt. So that's obviously the manufacturer, though they don't overtly say that. Lovely bit of artwork. We've got a dogfight going on with the 109 chasing down a Spitfire by the looks of it from the wing shape. Could be a Hurricane. I don't know. I think it's a Spitfire. Our box sides pretty much emulate that, but it does say, which doesn't say on the front, item number D508. So don't know what the D5 means. 08 probably means it's their 8th kit release. On this side, we've got a little bit of information about the kit. It tells us that you've got parts for one model, that the length is 183 millimeters, wingspan 206 millimeters, 115 plastic parts, 43 photo etch parts, 4 different decal options, paint and glue not included, not for under 14s. Then it gives us a CAD image of the cockpit with the photo etching, and gives us an image of the photo etch as well. And then on this side, we've got our 4 paint and decal options. Right, my German is rubbish, so I'm not going to pronounce it, but you can see them on the screen. So we've got Germany 39, France 40, France 40 and France 40. So all fairly different. These two are similar. I think, is that the one? I think that's the one off the box art. That one there. But yeah, 3 nice versions. Now there's no swastika on the box art, but we'll have a look at the decals in a minute and see what we think. Right, so let's take the lid off. And as we open the lid, we see we've got an inner box. So it's really well protected. You've got a nice corrugated box with a top opening lid, which gives us even more layers of protection. But we've got quite a lot of space in that box, haven't we? And look, if I scrub that down, you could get it into a box like that, and so thick. So yeah, probably just fitting it in a standard box. Let's have a look what we've got. We've got a Ziploc bag which has got the kit number on it, and got what have we got in there? 1, 2, 3 sprues, fairly loose in there. Then we've got another Ziploc bag with another 3 sprues, again, fairly loose in there. We've got our photo etch in an individual Ziploc bag. Our clear parts in another Ziploc bag. We've got some paint masks So they're die-cut vinyl. They weren't mentioned on the box, so that's really nice. And then we've got decals, which are face down. Lovely. And yeah, and we've got swastikas included. So we've got 2 decal sheets. That's a lot of decals. That's nice. Then we've got what, separate colour sheet with the paint instructions and our instruction manual. Right, let's start with the instructions. So our instructions are an A4 fold-out style, sort of Tamiya-esque type instructions. Seem to be black and white. Yeah, I'm not a fan of concertina fold-out ones. But you know, it is what it is. It's not a major issue. We start with the box art again, and then a little bit of history. It tells us that the Emil was a further development of the very successful fighter line developed by something in German under the leadership of Wilhelm Messerschmitt and Robert Lucer, which went into production at the end of 1938 to improve on the performance afforded by the 441-515 KW 600 to 700 PS Jumbo 210. So I have no idea what that means. The larger, longer Daimler-Benz DB601A engine. Right, so they put an improved engine in it and was used, yielding an extra 223 kilowatts, 300 PSI at the cost of an additional 181 kilos, 400 pounds, and much bigger cooling area was needed to disperse the extra heat generated by the DB601. And this led to the first major redesign of the basic airframe, enlarging the existing nose-mounted radiator sufficiently to cool the engine would have created extra weight and drag, negating some of the performance gains offered by the increased power. So it was decided to move the main radiators to the undersurfaces of the wings, immediately gains offered by outboard of the junction of the wing roots and wing panel just forward of the trailing edges. Inner ends leaving the oil cooler under the nose in a small streamlined duct. The new radiator position also had the effect of counterbalancing the extra weight and length of the DB601. And so it goes on. So basically there was some upgrades to the airframe due to upgrading the engine. So that's what the Emil is. Okay, didn't know that. Then we've got specifications, and then we've got some caution instructions, adult supervision, read and understand the instructions, do not swallow any of the parts, that sort of stuff. All good tips, I think. Then we've got our key at the top. So what we've got: remove, open hole, bend, do not glue, optional, apply decal, and quantity of operations, or how many times you got to do it. And then we've got our sprue map, and we have a little area here that says part not used. So sometimes it's worth just chopping those off just for simplicity, and then you know if you've missed a part rather than it's a part not used. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sprues plus the clear one, so there's no repeats in there. And then we're straight on to step 1. So step 1 is focusing on the pedals. So we seem to be building up sub-assemblies and then going to a larger assembly. So we've got pedals, which have got 3 parts of photo etch, so it's 50-50 photo etch plastic first part. Then we've got step 2, which is the seat. We've got photo etched belts. We've got the ratchet that goes next to the seat. That's built up from 3 parts as well, so it's quite nicely detailed. Then we've got the floor pan, we've got the flight stick, the pedals, and the seat going in, plus whatever that is. Then we're building up what looks like a bulkhead with a fuel tank or something like that in it. Inner bulkheads, we've got some photo etch going on. We've got some little knobs and bits and pieces going on, and some small plastic parts. We seem to have little numbers in black boxes. So there's nothing in there about what that is. Just wondering if that's a paint instruction. Bear with me. Right, yeah. So, and this is why I don't like gatefold ones. So we've got paints called out, which are just the RML numbers. So white, black, silver, dark green, and so on. And it says, so in a number in a white box in painting indication is the number of Guns Sanyo Aqueous Hobby Colour, while 1 in a black square is that of Mr. Colour. Glue and paints is not included. Right, so you've got Mr. Hobby or Mr. Colour called out. So there is a paint system assigned to it. Okay, so as we go through this, we can see that we've got paint colours being shouted out. So that's great. We know exactly what to do. Looks like we've got some very fine detail to put in on the dials and what have you. So lots going on. Looks like a busy old cockpit. So that is step 10. Right, step 11, and we bring all of that together. So put the walls around, and we've got this little tub then. And then we put that to one side, we build the propeller. Question why you'd be doing that now, because you ain't going to add that until after you've painted the fuselage. So that's a sub-assembly, build it up, put it to one side. So I'm not sure I'd do that. Then we've got... What's that? That's okay. That's what that's going to mount on. Yeah, we don't need that either yet. So, yeah, a bit disjointed, isn't it? A bit disjointed. And then we're building up the landing gear. We're not built up the fuselage or the wings. So I think you probably want to go through this and divide it all up and resequence your stages to suit how you want to build. But I wouldn't be doing any of that now. That doesn't make sense. Step 16, and we're putting the fuselage halves together. So this must go up inside before we put the wings on, which is a method I see some manufacturers do from time to time. So that's quite interesting. We've got the guns going on the inside. It's one of the pains. When they designed the 109, they weren't thinking about model builders, because painting that is always a pain, because you got to basically go in and detail paint it afterwards, but you've got to paint them before. So if there's any gaps and you can see in, you can see it. Otherwise, you've not got the depth of the paint. So yeah, the 109 wasn't designed with modelers in mind, was it? We've got tail going on. We've got sort of the upper surface of the cockpit with the bulkhead there going on, and we've got the top part of the engine. It's interesting. That's surely going to be covered up. Yeah, I'm not sure why they're doing that. Then we're putting the wings together. So we've got separate tips. They might be clear parts. Landing gear bay being put together. Be interesting to see how detailed that is. So that gets us step 17. Step 18, and we're building up tail parts. We've got that is photo etch with a cushion on, so that'll be going behind the pilot's seat, I think. Then we've got our cockpit tub going in. We've got some underside parts going in, including some pipe work and some photo etch fins for top and bottom of the exhausts. Then we've got some It's the sides of the radiator cowlings going in. Then we're putting in our tail parts with the support strut, and there's a little blocking piece, question mark, for the tail. I don't know, I never knew that. I never knew that the tail retracted on a 109. There you go, learning something there. And then you've got the exhaust stacks going in. Right, so that gets us to 22. Step 23, we've got leading edge going on, we've got ailerons going on, oh, that's interesting. That looks like we've got a decal straps, so as well as photo etch, because that says 308, so I think that's decals. Although decals was a star, wasn't it? Unless that means photo etch in that box, might do. But all the others have said, yeah, PE1 plus PE3. Right, got you. Yeah, got you. So I'm not quite sure. Oh, that's the paint instruction 308. What? I'm not thinking straight today, am I? We've got options, which probably means options of positions. And then we flip her over and we're putting the radiators in and the rest of the cowling. There's some pipe work going in. Radiator at the front. Some tiny details of various types. Not quite sure what any of that is, but plenty of detail. Really nice. Then we're putting the landing gear in that we'd built up, and we've got a pitot tube and what have you. And then we've got our tail wheel, and it doesn't say it's an option, but clearly it is, because you can't put it in if you've blanked it off. I've not seen anything to say there's an option for wheels up either. It's not saying option there, so why would you have the tail wheel up but the wheels down? That makes no sense either. Right, so the balance of the canopy is going on then. We've got a little bulkhead that goes inside the canopy. Didn't it hinge on a 109? I think it did. Aerial rear view mirror made from 2 photo etch parts as an option. Wing cannons going on, and then that takes us to step 26. And does that complete the build? Yes, I think it does. I don't think there is an option for wheels up unless you can just pop them in, but it doesn't explicitly say you can put them in the up position, so it'd be interesting to see if they'd fit. Right, then we've got our stencil scheme, which also gives us our paint call out that we've just referred to a moment or two ago. So fair number of stencils going down left to right, black and white, but it's clear to read. Stencils on the propellers, stencils on the leading edge. Yeah, very nice. I like it when they've considered all the stencils. And that is it for the instruction book. So, nice detailed instructions, fairly simple to follow. Not sure of the construction flow. I think maybe you want to rework it a little bit, but essentially they seem to be fairly good, fairly clear, well spaced out instructions. So once you start working through them and you get used to the key, not a problem at all then. Right, we have a double-sided colour paint and marking scheme sheet with all 4 on. They've not actually drawn a line between the 2, but the fold line is basically the demarcation between 2 different paint schemes. So they call out the paints along the bottom, which are used in both, but for example, RLM 04, don't see that you have a need for that in this one, but you do in that one. So these paints can apply to either. The scheme 1, which is I would say quite the usual scheme, with the splinter camouflage on the wings, and then this nice sort of cloudy effect up top against the blue, with the yellow is a nice touch. So that's quite a nice one. It's got a nice set of decals on it, so I quite like that one. This one, a little bit more blander for me, but it's got that nice black and white spinner, and again some interesting decals. It's a little bit more straightforward, of course. So yeah, no issues with that. And then 3 and 4. 4 is quite different, isn't it? And that's the earlier one, 1939. Yeah, different camouflage. That would be quite interesting to do. The easiest one to do, of course, is this one, which is just a little bit more straightforward. You've still got the splinter camouflage to do, though, of course. But if you don't like painting yellow, and some people keep away from it, you do have the yellow tips again. But yeah, 4 nice colours. We've got the decals being called out clearly. You've got the paint colours being called out clearly. Yeah, there's nothing there that I go, ooh, don't like that. Possibly nice to have the propeller forward on. They don't seem to have yellow tips or anything. They just like in the RAF, they just seem to be solid colour. But other than that, I can't fault that. All good. Decals now, and we've got 2 sheets of decals. One seems to be stencils, but also includes your dials and bits and pieces. So I think that is sort of like common decals is the way I'd put it. They're not cartograph. They say copyright Wingsey Kits, so I don't know whether they do their own or outsource them within Ukraine. But there is very little decal film around them. They seem to be very good. A little bit on these lines, but not so bad. I can feel them, but they're not overly thick. And from what I can see, the register looks absolutely spot on. Same as of these. These are more aligned to the paint schemes in the box. So you can imagine if they do another 109, you'll get that plus whatever the paint schemes are. So I can see how they've done that. Again, not bad. A little bit of film margin, but it's not overly bad. I mean, it follows the line of the 7, for example, and it looks... No, I thought for a minute that those zeros were sort of hollow in the middle, but they're not. But yeah, they're all nice. The register's really good. If you look on the coat of arms and things, there's no issues there. So yeah, all good. And they were face down in the box, which means they've not been damaged at all, which is really nice also. So yeah, nothing wrong with these decals. So the masks are vinyl, which is nice. You don't get the ripping and stuff and the raggedy edges that you get with tape. It's for the canopy only. There's nothing for the wheels, but they are really nice. So I have no issues with that. And then when we look at the photo etch, it's a nice sheet. It's fairly thin, but even though it's thin, we've still got some relief etching on the photo on the belts and on this part here where we've got several bits that get glued together. It's very subtle, the relief photo etch, but it is there. Some nice detail in there. Yeah, really quite good. Folding lines are clear and easy to see, so you shouldn't have any issues with that. My only comment would be the gaps between the part and the fret are very, very narrow, so it's going to be very difficult to get in and cut them out. the gaps around the parts need to be bigger so you can get in, give it a longer gate between the part and the fret so you can get in and cut it off. So as you can see, you will struggle to get your knife in some of those, I think. So it could be a little bit tricky, but a nice bit of photo etch nonetheless. Then we've got our clear plastic parts. So these were all the small separate bags really. So let's have a look at the clear parts. Right, okay, so they are nice. We've got nice raised frames. There's no rivet detail on them, so they are just blank frames. But the distortion, other than where the frames are, the distortion is very, very slight. Very, very slight. There is possibly, no, I think that's supposed to be, not sure if there's a bit of seam or a bit of spidering or something in that window there. Not sure. I think there might be. Otherwise, no issues. They're clear. They're not dead crystal clear, but they are clear. And when you put them on the model, you dip them in some clear gloss, put them on your model. I think they'll look fine. So nothing wrong with those. Right, plastic now. This is sprue A. Just happens to be the first one out of the box. And it's the main fuselage elements. And the first thing that strikes you is the really lovely rivet detail. It's really, really nice. Very, very clear. It's all recessed, so it doesn't present you any issues when you're sanding. It's a tiny amount of flash there, minimal. Yeah, very nice that. We've got different fastener detail on the panels. There's no stressed metalwork. It's smooth, but then at this scale, you could argue how visible would it be. Yeah, and the panel lines are really, really smart and neat. They're not great big troughs. They're not overly done. Could be, if you're a brush painter, you're going to struggle to preserve them, I think. But for airbrushing, shouldn't be a problem. Really nice detail. Plastic is nice and hard. It's just going to cut a bit of sprue and get a feel for it. Yeah, oh, that's nice plastic. Nice plastic. Happy with that. So yeah, there. I mean, it is lovely. Fuselage is lovely. Very crisp. The sprue gates are on the internal surfaces, so they're not on the outside surface at all. So you can cut that off there and then sand it smooth there, and your sprue gate's gone, and that's all the way around. So that's really nice. It's the same on here. It's connected to your surfaces. Yeah, so on the surface it's going to go into there, is where it connects. So that's really good. Those two there, those sprue gates there, are actually on your rivet line, so you will have to recover your rivet line on those two sides, but otherwise really nice. Really, really nice. Yeah, all the other sprue gates appear to be in the middle of the panel and not on a rivet line. Yeah, so not near a panel line, I should say. Very nice. I'll take some photographs so you can get a closer look. Right, what's this? Sprue F, and we've got wing parts, wheels, landing gear parts, pedals, that's the bits off the seat. So lots of tiny parts. There's a little bit of there's a little bit of flash on some of these end parts, but in the main it looks fairly crisp. The tyres and the wheels are molded with the hub in, and then are they weighted? Hard to tell whether they're weighted or not. I don't think they are. No. But you do have sidewall writing on them, which is really nice. Yeah, I can see that. See sidewall writing, so that's lovely. There's lovely rivet detail on the outer panels of the landing gear. Bit of heavy seam on the tyre, I'm noticing in the light. But otherwise, detail is really good. Really, really good. I don't see any sink either, so that's all nice. Some nicely moulded control levers. Oh, looks really good. Yeah, no issues with that. Actually, there's sidewall writing on both sides of the tyres, which is a really nice touch. Yeah, lovely. Next sprue is, which one's this one? E. There we go. So we've got our propeller, and really good news. Wingsey Kits almost definitely must be watching my channel, because they haven't put the sprue gates onto the propeller blades. The connection point is in the middle, which is how I prefer it. So thank you very much for that. That'll be much better to clean up. Really nice. There's a little bit of texturing on the tail planes there. You can see that the struts there, so that's really good. Exhausts are a little basic, but give you the impression. The struts are nicely detailed. Again, bit of seam cleanup, but nothing major. And there's a little bit of texturing with the struts on the tail as well. Then we've got the radiator. It's got some fine detail on there. Cannons there. They look well depicted as well. Yeah, really nice. Very, very nice. No issues with it at all. Right, I'll take some photos. We'll have a look at those 3 sprues, then we'll have a look at the balance of the plastic. Next sprue out is B, and we've got the under side of the wings and flaps there. They're completely smooth, so I'm guessing that must be right. But yeah, we've got some lovely rivet detail on there again. Very fine detail, actually. It's been done really, really well. No sink. I'm just looking around here where we've got some raised plastic, but there is no sink. It is really, really crisp. No flash or anything on these parts either. So yeah, really nice. Really lovely. So yeah, let's hope it goes together as well as it looks, I think. Right, upper wings now. This is C. And the tail, we've got the holes there for the little support brackets that go underneath. Yeah, very nice. We can see lovely patternation of the rivets there, lovely and crisp. That'll go on there like that. Looks very nice. Decent surface area for making contact for gluing in. Is that pins? Yeah, tiny pins. Don't know if you can see that little tiny pin hole, so that'll be interesting when we come to build it. You do have some detail for inside the landing gear as well. You know what? It's lovely. I mean, this is sort of Edward level plastic detail. Certainly surpasses the Tamiya offering of the 109, which has very little in the way of surface detail. Yeah, very nice. And then our last sprue is D, and we've got the dials there, really nicely done. Lovely and crisp, very sharp moulding. We've got bits for the propeller, the inside bulkheads, which again look very nicely done. Then we've got this engine top, which seems a bit strange that we've got that. Spinners, so I think 2 or 3 of these don't get used. Very nice. Obviously we've got more coming, more planned. Parts for the cockpit. The bucket seat looks a bit basic, but that could be how it was. I don't know enough about it. Until when I come to build it, I'll start looking at references, and that's when we start making modifications. The floor pan has got lovely texturing on there. Really nice. Lovely, very faint bolt detail. A little bit of sink in that part. The tail wheel is a bit soft moulded. Yeah, that's probably the worst part I've seen in the kit. Just needs sharpening up. It appears to be a bit of sink where the hub, the wheel is, so it's sort of the tyre blends into the wheel, and you can't really depict where it starts and finishes. So that's probably the worst piece on there. Otherwise, I have no issues with any of that. Let me take some pictures and then we'll wrap up. So there we have it, Wingsey Kits BF109 E3 Emil in 1:48 scale. What is my first impression? Well, I've got to say I'm deeply impressed. They have ticked all the boxes that you want from a model kit. So let's just run through those. Have we got clear instructions? Yes. Have we got detailed paint instructions? Yes. Have we got decals and that covers off stencils and fine details? Yes. Have we got good, well-produced plastic with lots of detail? Yes. Do we have some photo etch for the finer details? Yes. Have we got paint masks? Yes. Yeah, ticks all the boxes. Now let's go through it a little bit more with a critical eye. So let's start with the packaging. Packaging, really good, nice, strong box. The parts are very loose in there though, which means they're going to get scratched and damaged over time. So that's not ideal. So there's a lot of crush space in there. So if there is a crush, you're less likely to get the parts damaged. But you could really do with the sprues being tighter in the box, or some packing material in there, some brown paper scrunched up or something to just stop it moving around so much would help. Having said that, the artwork is nice. It's a well-presented box which gives you lots of information to help you make an informed decision about purchasing it without actually looking inside the box. Instructions are clear. In some places I'd question the flow. We're making sub-assemblies way before we need to use them. But some people like to model like that, and others like me don't. So it depends on your modeling style to a certain degree. But in terms of clarity, of understanding of where parts go, they appear to be really quite good. The separate paint sheets, always a good idea, in colour. Nice clear paint, call out. It's not dissimilar to Airfix, and I consider them amongst the best, along with Tamiya. So yeah, I think that's done really well. Photo etch is really nice and crisp. My only comment is not enough space between the part and the fret for you to get in and cut it out without the risk of damaging it. So that's something they need to look at. The addition of masks for the canopy is always welcome, and the fact that the vinyl, for me, that's much better. They're much sharper. Yeah, I just prefer them. I'll always go with vinyl whenever there's that option. So yeah, from the point of view of what you get in the kit, really nice. When it comes to the detail of the plastic, it's very crisply molded. The plastic is a nice plastic to work with. It's hard and what have you, sort of bit not quite as hard as the new Airfix plastic, but I'm struggling to think of someone I'd compare it to. But it's not dissimilar to Tamiya plastic, I guess. Yeah, so no issues with the parts at all. It's basic cleanup and slot together. So if the engineering is as good as the detail, this should build up to be a lovely little kit. Decals look great as well. So all bases covered. Very, very nice little kit. So this is the first Wingsey kit I've ever come across. And I'm actually quite intrigued to see how it would go together, to be honest. But yeah, there you have it. It says this was a 2021 release from Ukraine. So hopefully they're still going and chucking great products out. I can see great things coming from Wingsey Kits. If they start off like this, then they're only going to get better. So yeah, well done for producing a great model. I've enjoyed reviewing that. I think that stands up really well against other 148 109s that I've reviewed, such as the Tamiya one and the Edward one. So yeah, really nice. So if you've, like me, never come across Wingsey Kits before, you now know what you get in the box. You get a good quality product that's well presented. I hope that was useful and interesting. And until the next time, you enjoy your modelling, and I will see you very soon. Bye for now.